So you can see that every year something unexpected and spontaneous happens. But this is your organization, so there's a question that's being implied in Alan and Jim's comments. Should we give this additional unexpected award to Larry Gibson for our 2013 Steward of God's Creation Award? All in favor signify by saying aye. We got an award. So, Owen and Warren, now we're going to have some announcements. Quick, we have 60-second announcements. We got about 10 new things that are happening. Alan, you're first up.
Okay. These are 1-minute announcements. What's going on in the coal fields of West Virginia? By the way, I have some of these newspapers outside. Please get one. A lot of write-ups on Larry Gibson and other things. In the last few years, we have now over 20 peer-reviewed studies, much of it CDC, Centers for Disease Control data, but also now we're taking actually Christian students during their spring breaks in and doing community health service and finding much, much higher rates of asthma, respiratory diseases, heart disease, cancer, birth defects in mountaintop removal communities in comparison to control areas that have the same similar socioeconomic demographics. What's going on is the air pollution from the blasting, silica and pH and other things, ammonium nitrates. By the way, 5.5 million pounds of explosives daily to blast up the mountains to get these thin seams of coal. And that is what is killing people. And we got an ACAC, HR 526 brochure out there. But we're in an area of extreme extraction on anything. Deep water, Arctic, oil, fracking, tar sands, mountaintop removal. We need to act. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. David, where are you? Next is David Kratz. Yep. And Mary Beth, you're next.
All right.
Hi, I'm David Krantz. I'm the president of the Green Zionist Alliance, the grassroots campaign for sustainable Israel, and it is my pleasure and honor to be with you today. In preparation for the National Religious Coalition on Creation Care's development of an interfaith ethic of the seas, the Green Zionist Alliance prepared a Jewish ethic of the seas, as Fred calls it, the first such religious ethic of the seas, or as we call it, a Birkat Hayam, a blessing of the seas, a Tehillat Hayam, a psalm of the sea, and a Brit Hayam, a covenant of the sea. They're all available on our website, greenzionism.org, and it is the Brit Hayam, the covenant of the sea, from which I will ever so briefly speak from today. So the prophet Amos said that we should let justice flow like water and righteousness like a mighty stream. And yet it is the water itself to which we have been very unjust. We have not just been pouring carbon into the atmosphere, but also into the seas. We have been overfilling our waters so that they overflow their boundaries, and yet we have been emptying them of fish. And it is not justice, but plastic that today covers the seas. It is time for us to renew our covenant with the earth, to renew our covenant with the seas. It is time that we recognize that protecting the seas is part of our religious obligation. May the earth be filled with knowledge of God's creation as the waters cover the seas.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Of the 90 925 million people who go hungry each night. Almost half, 400 million, live in countries highly dependent on fish for their staple food. Beyond their boundaries around the world, oceans provide 20% of our animal protein. Averaged out, each person in the world consumes 35 pounds of ocean food each year. As we're talking about climate change, we're talking about also the fact that the second lungs, we have the lungs of all the vegetation, then we have the lungs of the ocean. And the lungs of the ocean are getting filled, just like with carbon in a miner's body. Our oceans are turning to acid, which is changing all the coral and different animals that have the calcium. It's eating them up. Those are our nurseries for the fish. We have 7 deadly sins that are harming the oceans, and that's the fossil fuels and the whole climate change, but the acidification. We have the overfishing, plastics, chemical and sewage, careless coastal development, and the noise and light pollution. These are undermining the very systems of life. So when we look at climate change, we have, as Mitch so eloquently said, we need to use language that fits. In climate change right now, nobody can hear it. They're exhausted, or they're mad, or they think it's political. But we can talk public health, we can talk climate refugees, natural disasters, our faith, the poor, and now we really need to add oceans. The whole ocean systems, which undermines life. If we need to start talking oceans, that's part of climate change. Land and oceans go together. So the National Coalition for Creation Care sent out a group to Hawaii to talk to find out the 7 deadly sins, talk to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, look at the different things, and David was there. So he did it with the Jewish community. We're doing an interfaith one that we urge you to look at the draft, use it for your own denominations and congregations to write your ethic of the seas. We need to bring it to the forefront of climate change discussions and the health of the ocean in general. Thank you so much. Oh, one thing more. I just wanted to read one quote from John Paul about what we were talking about, hope. People sometimes have the impression that individual decisions are without influence at the level of a country, planet, and the cosmos. This gives rise to a certain indifference due to irresponsible behavior. However, we must remember that the Creator placed in people, commanding them to administer for the good of all. For this, we can be assured that the slightest good act of a person has a mysterious impact on social transformation and shares in the growth of all. Everyone is invited to a profound personal conversion in their relationship with others. This will enable a collective conversion to take place and lead to a life of harmony with creation. Prophetic actions, however slight, are an opportunity for a great number of people to ask themselves questions and commit themselves. He always said these crises are spiritual opportunities and a chance to bring peace to the world through conversation of all religions and cultures, and that's our opportunity. Thank you. Sorry.
Thanks for putting up with all the time. I'm going to be very brief. Under the umbrella of NRCCC, we just launched a website yesterday called carbonconfession.com. Hopefully you'll go visit, see what it's about, and let me just read the Carbon Confession. It's very short. I publicly confess the undeniable scientific evidence that our carbon use causes warming of the earth, the oceans, melting of ice caps, acidification of waters, dying of land masses, and increasing violence of weather impoverishing millions. I affirm how deeply I love the God's earth, a gift of the earth, trees, birds, rain, fish, diversity of people. In grief, I admit I have poured the consequences of my carbon abuse upon the poor, the flora, the fauna, upon my grandchildren, and generations yet unborn. I confess to God my overuse of carbon energy for comfort and security beyond my needs. I am complicit in the societal downward spiral of life systems. I affirm Scripture declares the earth is the Lord's and everything in it. We are all but aliens and tenants, says Leviticus, in God's land, and have a duty to tend and watch over from Genesis. Creation, and to renew the face of the earth through God's Spirit, Psalms 104. I admit my carbon dependency is an addiction over which I have little or no power. I use